Chocolate has more resveratrol than red wine. It helps your body absorb ultraviolet light. Ginger is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories on the planet, and both of them, under the right conditions, can shut down your body's ability to produce melanin, the very pigment that protects you from the modern world. And that matters way more than most people realize. Melanin isn't just skin color. It's a broadband semiconductor. It absorbs every single frequency across the electromagnetic spectrum, from ultraviolet light all the way to radio waves. That means it's your body's frontline shield against non-native electromagnetic fields. Your Wi-Fi, your phone, your Bluetooth. It carries electrons, it chelates heavy metals, it stores light energy at the electronic level inside your cells. Losing melanin isn't a cosmetic problem, it's an energy crisis. In this video, you're going to learn exactly which common foods and supplements block melanin production, and the specific biochemical mechanisms they use to do it. Some of these, like chocolate and ginger, are genuinely beneficial under normal circumstances. But if you're actively trying to rebuild your melanin, if you're in a renovation phase, they're working against you. And one of them, the artificial sweetener hiding in almost every health product on the shelf, is never good for you. Period. And here's the part that really got me. One of the most commonly used over-the-counter medications in the world. Something the National Strength and Conditioning Association says is in the top 3 drugs used by people who lift weights. Doesn't just fail to help your melanin. It blocks the master gene responsible for creating it. The gene that controls the entire system. We'll get to that one. But first, let's talk about the food that even the doctor who mapped this whole framework out says he loves and still tells his patients to avoid during a renovation. Let's start with the one that's always bad. Because once you understand what aspartame does to melanin at the cellular level, you'll never look at a diet soda the same way again. When you consume aspartame, and we're talking diet sodas, sugar-free gum, protein powders, low-calorie desserts, your digestive system breaks it into 3 components. 50% becomes phenylalanine, 40% becomes aspartic acid, and 10% becomes methanol. Here's where it gets ugly. Phenylalanine has a powerful affinity for something called the large neutral amino acid carrier system. Think of this carrier system as a shuttle bus that transports amino acids across your blood-brain barrier. Phenylalanine is an aggressive passenger. It shoves other amino acids off the bus, specifically tyrosine and tryptophan. Why does that matter? Tyrosine is the raw material your body uses to build melanin. Tryptophan is what your body uses to build melatonin. So one ingredient in your diet soda is simultaneously blocking the production of your body's solar energy pigment and your body's master antioxidant hormone. But it gets worse. That 10% methanol, your body converts it into formaldehyde and formic acid. Formaldehyde accumulates in your skin. It disrupts protein semiconduction, the way your cells communicate using light. And the elevated hydrogen peroxide that aspartame generates, it literally bleaches melanin, the same way hydrogen peroxide bleaches hair. Except this is happening inside your cells. Now think about who consumes the most aspartame on the planet. Bodybuilders and fitness competitors. They drink diet sodas. They use protein powders loaded with artificial sweeteners. They eat sugar-free everything to stay lean. There's even bro science floating around gyms that says you should drink a Diet Coke after tanning to lock in the tan before a competition. That advice is the exact opposite of what actually happens biochemically. Aspartame destroys your ability to hold a tan. And here's the part nobody talks about. Many of these same athletes train under intense blue light in commercial gyms, which is already creating massive inflammation. Then they reach for aspartame-laden supplements to refuel. Then they use melanotin products, synthetic tanning peptides. to darken their skin because they can't tan naturally anymore. They've created a cycle where they're destroying melanin with one hand and trying to fake it with the other. The skin tells the story. Atrophic skin, red splotches, inflammation visible to anyone who knows what to look for. These aren't signs of health. They're signs of melanin destruction happening from the inside out. Let me pause here and give you something practical you can do right now. Go to your kitchen, pick up every protein powder, every sugar-free product, every piece of gum you own. Flip it over, look for aspartame, acesulfame potassium, or any artificial sweetener on the label. If you're serious about rebuilding your body's ability to harvest light, and that's fundamentally what melanin does, those products need to go today. Now, aspartame is the obvious villain, but the next one on this list is going to surprise you because it's sitting in almost every health-conscious person's spice rack. And it blocks melanin through a completely different mechanism: ginger. The golden root that every wellness influencer tells you to put in your smoothie, your tea, your juice. It's anti-inflammatory, right? That's supposed to be good. Here's the problem. Ginger's anti-inflammatory power comes from its ability to block two specific enzyme pathways: cyclooxygenase, called COX, and lipoxygenase, called LOX. These are the same pathways that non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs target, and those pathways are directly involved in melanin synthesis. Think of it this way. Your body uses a controlled inflammatory response to build melanin. When ultraviolet light hits your skin, it triggers a specific cascade. Part of that cascade involves COX and LOX enzymes. They're not just creating inflammation for the sake of it. They're part of the signaling chain that tells your melanocytes to produce more pigment. When you flood your system with ginger, especially concentrated ginger supplements or daily ginger shots, you're dampening the very signals your skin needs to tan and to build its solar battery. This doesn't mean ginger is poison. It means that during a period when you're actively trying to rebuild melanin, when you're getting more sun exposure, when you're trying to restore your body's light harvesting capacity, ginger works against you. Timing and context matter. This one hurts. Chocolate. Specifically, the issue is tyramine. Chocolate is loaded with it, and tyramine competes directly with tyrosine in your body's biochemical pathways. Remember, tyrosine is the amino acid precursor to melanin. Your body converts tyrosine through a series of steps using an enzyme called tyrosinase into the melanin pigment that protects your cells and stores light energy. Tyramine, which is structurally similar to tyrosine, gums up this process. It interferes with the clean conversion that your melanocytes need to produce pigment efficiently. During a melanin renovation, a period where you're deliberately rebuilding your body's melanin stores through sun exposure and dietary changes, chocolate and other high tyramine foods create biochemical noise. They make it harder for your body to channel tyrosine toward melanin production. Other high tyramine foods to be aware of: aged cheeses, fermented foods, cured meats, and red wine. Red wine is actually on the avoidance list for melanin renovation specifically because of its tyramine content combined with its effects on the liver pathways that process these compounds. So if you're someone who has a glass of red wine with dinner and a square of dark chocolate for dessert and thinks you're being healthy, and from a melanin perspective, you might be undermining yourself. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly, this is the one that should concern you most, because it's not a food. It's something most people reach for multiple times a week without thinking twice. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, ibuprofen, naproxen, the pills you pop after a workout, for a headache, for joint pain. According to the National Strength and Conditioning Association, these drugs are among the top 3 most used by people who do resistance training. Which means millions of people are training under blue light, creating inflammation, and then taking the exact compounds that block the enzyme their body needs to make melanin. Here's something you can do immediately. The next time you reach for ibuprofen, ask yourself, could I go outside in the sun instead? Because sunlight is the most powerful anti-inflammatory compound on the planet, and it builds melanin instead of destroying it. Let me explain exactly what's happening at the cellular level because this is important. Tyrosinase is a copper-containing enzyme. It's the gatekeeper of melanin production. Without functional tyrosinase, your melanocytes can't convert tyrosine into melanin. Period. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs directly suppress tyrosinase activity. They do this by inhibiting cyclooxygenase, the same COX pathway we talked about with ginger. But it goes deeper than that. There's a gene called microphthalmia-associated transcription factor, or simply the melanin master gene. This gene is the conductor of the entire melanin orchestra. When it's active, it promotes the transcription of the tyrosinase gene. It tells your cells, make more of the machinery that produces melanin. Research has shown that aspirin, which is actually the gentlest of the anti-inflammatory drugs on melanin, still inhibits this master gene at the transcriptional level. It doesn't just slow melanin production, it turns down the volume on the gene that controls the entire system. Now, aspirin is actually considered the least harmful option if you absolutely need an anti-inflammatory, because unlike other drugs in this class, it doesn't interfere with the breakdown products of a fatty acid called DHA, specifically resolvins, protectins, and myrisins. These are the compounds that actually turn off inflammation and begin the regeneration cascade. Other anti-inflammatory drugs block those too. Aspirin at least leaves that door open, but make no mistake, even aspirin suppresses melanin production. The best anti-inflammatory is and always will be sunlight itself. Here's one that almost nobody knows about. Antihistamines, loratadine, cetirizine, diphenhydramine, the allergy medications that millions of people take daily, especially in spring and summer. The exact time of year when you should be building melanin from sun exposure. Research has shown that loratadine leads to significant inhibition of messenger RNA and protein expression levels of that same master melanin gene we just discussed. It suppresses tyrosinase, the key enzyme that controls melanin synthesis. Think about the irony of this. Spring arrives, pollen fills the air, you start sneezing. You take an antihistamine so you can go outside and enjoy the weather. And that very antihistamine is blocking your skin's ability to respond to the sunlight you're finally getting. You take the pill so you can be outdoors. And the pill makes being outdoors less beneficial. This is one of those situations where you have to weigh the trade-off. If your allergies are severe, you may need antihistamines, but you deserve to know that they come with a cost to your melanin biology. And if your allergies are mild, it might be worth exploring other approaches, like increasing your DHA intake through seafood, which supports the immune pathways that can reduce allergic responses naturally. Let me step back for a moment and put all of this in perspective, because it's easy to hear this list and feel overwhelmed. Chocolate, ginger, pain relievers, allergy meds, artificial sweeteners. It can feel like everything is working against you. But here's the reframe. Your body already knows how to make melanin. It's been doing it for millions of years. The issue isn't that the system is broken. The issue is that modern life has stacked the deck against it. Once you remove the obstacles and once you stop unknowingly sabotaging the process, your body does what it was designed to do. You're not adding something new. You're removing interference. And that's a much simpler problem to solve than most people realize. There's one more category that needs to be mentioned, and it's prescription-related. Monoamine oxidase inhibitors, a class of drugs used primarily for depression and anxiety. These drugs interact directly with the tyrosine and tryptophan pathways. They alter how your body processes the very amino acids that feed into melanin and melatonin production. If you're on an MAO inhibitor, this doesn't mean you should stop taking it. That's a conversation for you and your doctor. But it does mean you should understand that there may be a melanin cost, and you can take other steps to support your biology, like prioritizing morning sunlight, increasing your DHA intake, and eliminating the dietary factors we've discussed that you do have control over. The point isn't to create fear around medications. The point is awareness. When you understand the full picture, you can make informed decisions about what trade-offs you're willing to accept. All right, let's bring this home with exactly what you can do. If you're serious about supporting your body's melanin, and remember, melanin isn't just about skin color, it's your body's primary light-harvesting semiconductor. It chelates heavy metals, it protects your DNA, it stores energy at the electronic level. Here's your action list. First, audit your pantry. Remove anything containing aspartame or artificial sweeteners. Check your protein powders especially. If it's sugar-free and tastes sweet, read the label carefully. Second, during periods of active sun exposure, spring and summer especially, reduce or eliminate chocolate, ginger supplements, and red wine. You don't have to give them up forever, but during the months when your body is actively building its melanin stores, don't work against yourself. Third, replace your reflex to reach for ibuprofen with sunlight. Get outside. The sun reduces inflammation through mechanisms that also build melanin. It's the only anti-inflammatory that makes you stronger instead of weaker. Fourth, if you take antihistamines seasonally, consider supporting your immune system with DHA-rich seafood. Wild-caught fish, oysters, sardines, which can help modulate the allergic response naturally while simultaneously providing the raw materials your melanocytes need for photo repair. Fifth, prioritize tyrosine-rich foods over phenylalanine-heavy processed foods. Whole foods, seafood, and foods that support the natural melanin pathway rather than competing with it. Here's what I want you to take away from this. You're not at the mercy of your environment. You're not helpless against the modern world. Every single thing we talked about today is something you have direct control over. Nobody can force you to drink diet soda. Nobody can force you to pop ibuprofen instead of stepping outside. These are choices, and now they're informed choices. Your melanin is not just pigment. It's a biological antenna. It's a semiconductor. It's how your body captures, stores, and uses the energy of the sun. And every time you remove something that's blocking that process, you're giving your cells permission to do what they've been trying to do all along. You deserve to know what's working against you. Now you do. And that knowledge is your power. If this changed how you think about what's in your kitchen, drop a comment and tell me which one surprised you most. And if you haven't seen the earlier videos in this series on melanin and light biology, that playlist is linked right here. I'll see you in the next one.